The gym is one of the best places for you to make new friends. And if you don't believe me on this, I will fight you and I will win because I go to the gym and I have big muscles and I make friends at the gym and they have big muscles and we will beat you. Okay, I'm kidding about the part where I will fight you. I don't want to fight you. And for all I know, you have even bigger muscles than me, so you might win that fight. But I'm not kidding about the part where I believe that the gym is one of the best ways to make friends. And I realize this is pretty surprising. I'm a clinical psychologist and I work with a lot of people who are struggling to make friends. And I advise them to try to make friends at the gym. And they push back. They're like, Dr. Dan, that doesn't make sense. I've seen all of these creepy videos of people making folks uncomfortable at the gym. Why would I want to try to strike up a conversation at the gym and make somebody uncomfortable? And I will acknowledge it is definitely possible to go about being social at the gym in the wrong way. It is super possible to make somebody else uncomfortable or cause an awkward situation. And so I want to make sure that you don't do any of those things. But if you know what you're doing, the gym can be a phenomenal place to kickstart your social life while you also work on your physical health. Here's what I mean by that. The gym is a great place to make friends for two critical reasons. The first reason is the type of people that tend to go to the gym. If somebody is a regular at a gym, then it's usually somebody who cares about self-improvement. It's somebody who likes doing positive activities that make themselves better. It's somebody who has some determination. They're able to be committed to a goal. All of those are the kind of characteristics that you probably want to have in a friend. And so if you encounter somebody who's a gym regular, that person has some potential to be a good friend to you. Also, if you came across this video because maybe you like the gym or you like working out, well, then even better because you might have a common interest with that person. Even if you're not particularly into working out or physical activity, that's okay because a lot of people that go to the gym, maybe they care about their health, even if they don't entirely care about working out. And that might be something you have in common with them. So that's the first reason why the gym is a great place to make friends. The second reason is because of consistency. And consistency is obviously critically important for success with a workout. Nobody ever got into shape by going to the gym once and then quitting. And so the reason why most people that are at the gym are there often is because they are consistent. They have committed to showing up again and again and again and again. And that makes it much easier for you to build a friendship with them. Instead of trying to meet somebody at a party and you get to talk to them one time and you have to somehow make friends with them over the course of a single conversation, you get to see somebody at the gym and over have small interactions that ultimately build up to being a great positive relationship. So that's why I'm a big fan of the gym as a way to make friends. But remember, it's very possible to mess up when you try to strike up a conversation at the gym. So what are you supposed to actually do? Well, there's two options for having a conversation at the gym. The first option, and probably the easiest option, is to take a class. Most gyms offer some kind of group fitness opportunity. Maybe it's Pilates, maybe it's a spin class, maybe it's a karate class, whatever it is. The classes will have the same people showing up at about the same time, week in, week out. If I take hot yoga Tuesday at 5 p.m., I'm probably going to be at hot yoga next Tuesday at 5 p.m. That's just sort of how people tend to work the gym into their routine. So again, you get to see the same people around the same time. And because it's a class activity, there's a camaraderie that builds up. You're all connecting with the other people in the class. Of course, you can't strike up a conversation with somebody else in the middle of the class. That would be rude and uncomfortable. But what you can do is you can show up to the class maybe 5 minutes early. Just hang out around the outside. And chances are there will be a couple of other people that also show up to the class a couple minutes early. And if you happen to be a regular at the class, maybe you've come a couple times, you're going to recognize the other regulars and you'll be able to strike up a little bit of a conversation with them. Obviously, you're not going to become best friends in the 5 minutes that you're waiting for the Pilates class to start, but you might ask them how their week was. You might tell them that the last workout was really hard and you hope this one won't be as difficult. You might comment on their water bottle, ask them where they got it. Just little sparks of connection during this period where you're all waiting to come into the class. And what you do as you're giving out those sparks of connection is you're seeing if they are reciprocated. If you ask somebody about their water bottle and they're like, yep, it's okay, and they kind of shut you down, well, then maybe that person's not interested in a connection with you. But if you ask them about the water bottle and they say, oh, yeah, like I got it from this store, I really love it. Then maybe that opens up the door to a conversation. And obviously, it's not about the water bottle, it's about showing interest in them and seeing if they reciprocate that interest. So that's the easy strategy. Find a class, become a regular at that class, and then for a couple minutes before the class, see if there's somebody that you can strike up a conversation with, maybe for a couple minutes after the class also. And if you have a couple of good interactions with the same person over time, then eventually the door is going to open to having a connection that goes beyond just talking about Pilates and water bottles. Maybe you'll ask them how their week went and they'll open up a little bit about their life. Maybe they'll show some curiosity in you. And then once that's happening, then maybe you'll have the pathway to making a deeper friendship. Maybe you discover that you have a shared hobby and you invite them to go spend some time doing that hobby together or something like that. I do want to add a word of caution here, though. One of the things that can most likely turn into problems in the gym is when people try to make connections across gender lines, especially when men try to reach out and show interest in women. Even if you are a man and you have completely positive intentions, there's just enough creepy dudes that have hit on enough women at gyms that the guard of women at gyms tends to be up when somebody who looks like me tries to strike up a conversation with them. So if you are a dude, do not follow this advice when it comes to women. Focus on building conversations with other men. But here's the secret. If you are a regular at a class and you are friendly and positive with maybe some of the other guys in the class, well, then over time, some of the girls in the class might notice that and they might initiate a conversation with you. And if somebody else initiates the conversation with you, you're welcome to reciprocate and do all of those things. But you got to wait for them to open up that door so that you're sure that they're open to that and you're not making them uncomfortable. So that's the strategy if you want to make friends across both genders and you happen to be a guy. That's the class strategy for making friends at the gym. But what if your gym doesn't offer any classes or you just don't like Pilates or something like that? Well, there is also a way to make friends just in the general gym environment. And for that, you need to go over to the weightlifting section of the gym. The fact is, over on the cardio side, you're very rarely going to find people who are open to connection. It's much easier that you're just going to bother them. So if somebody is running on the treadmill, they've got their headphones in, that's about as clear a signal as it can be that they just want you to leave them alone. But over on the strength training side, there tends to be a little bit of a more collaborative atmosphere because many weightlifting exercises require somebody else to offer a spot or to offer assistance in some way. And if you go to the weightlifting part of the gym, again, with some regularity, you're going to notice that the same people might be there. If you always go to work out after work at 5 p.m. on a particular day, you'll find that other people probably also got off work, came to the gym at that time. And if you start to notice a regular, if you've seen somebody a couple times, you recognize them in the weightlifting zone, you can maybe wave to them. You can say hi to them. And then if they're kind of receptive to that, you can ask them for some help. You can ask them to spot you on a bench press or something like that. And most weightlifters will give a spot to you if you ask. If you're not very good at weightlifting, if you're kind of new to it, you could ask somebody to maybe check your form or give you some advice. Obviously, you don't want to turn them into your unpaid personal trainer, but it's okay to say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this squat one time. I'm not as familiar with it. Do you mind watching my form?" And the reason why this is valuable is because again, it's giving you the chance to try little sparks of connection and just see how the person responds. So if you say, "Hey, can you spot me?" and they say fine and they spot you and then they immediately leave, then maybe they're not as interested in a connection with you. But if you say, "Hey, can you spot me?" and then they do, and then they say, "Oh, that was a great set. How long have you been lifting weights?" or something like that. Well, that's a sign of interest. That's a sign of them going one beyond what they previously could have done. And that way it's a signal that they're maybe interested in a connection with you. And so then the next time you see them, maybe you wave to them, maybe you say hi to them, maybe you ask them for a spot again. And if they continue to kind of show that sort of interest, then over time again, maybe you ask them about their week, you ask them about their life outside the gym, you get to know them more as a person. and then a friendship can form from that. So the gym is not just a good way to work on your physical fitness. It's not just a good way to work on your mental fitness because actually your mental health, your emotional health, all that stuff gets better when you exercise. But it is also a way to work on your social life. If you make a habit of going to the gym around the same time, you see other people who are regulars at the gym, and you just do these little sparks of connection in a way that's comfortable for them and see how they respond, I think you'll be surprised by how often you'll be positively received and the other person will be happy to get to know you and maybe make a friend with you because I think a lot of times people at the gym they want to have a workout buddy. They want to have somebody that might encourage them to work out more or somebody that they can see and have a fun time with when they come to the gym. So keep your eyes out for people that are maybe recognize you, people that are maybe open to a connection with you. And who knows, you might find some really great friends at your local gym. So, those are the tips that I got. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know if you tried it out, if you have any questions, if there's anything you want me to talk about for the next video. And of course, please don't hesitate to like, subscribe, do all the things that makes the YouTube algorithm happy and makes it easier for me to keep making more of these videos for you. This is Dr. Dan signing off.